Hey guys, today we are talking about OctoPrint and whether it is the right interface to control your 3D printer. For those of you who don't know, OctoPrint is an open source platform to control your 3D printer remotely. How it works is you have the software installed on a board, usually a Raspberry Pi, although it can run on some other boards. And you have your printer plugged into the board, and then you have the board connected to your home network via Wi-Fi or Ethernet. And then from any device connected to that network, you can visit a web page and control your 3D printer. You can also control it remotely even if you're not connected to your network with a username and password. The first thing to talk about is the main feature of OctoPrint, which is the convenience. It's nice to be able to not have to be in the room of your printer and still have full control. This is especially useful if the printer is in an odd location in your house, say in your basement, and you don't have to go all the way down there to see whether the print's finished or not. You can just pull up your phone and check with the mobile interface. It's also a lot easier to navigate than some of those click wheel interfaces that you have on a lot of budget printers. So for instance, if you want to home your printer, all you have to do is click a button on the front page instead of having to scroll through all the different options, find each axis and home each one. It can really save a whole lot of time. Another positive thing about OctoPrint is its insane amount of features. You can plug in webcams to this thing and then view your printer remotely. You can view G-code. You can even slice models directly in the software. You don't even need an external slicer. And you of course have control over every axis, being able to move it and home it individually as well as a whole. Also, another big thing that OctoPrint does is it estimates how long a print will take. Now this is actually a big deal because a lot of the softwares on a printer interface aren't that accurate. It might say it takes 2 hours when it really takes 4 hours or whatever. I found it to be reliable within 5 to 10 minutes of the estimated print time. You can also install third-party plugins created by other users, and this is actually a huge deal. There are a lot of great plugins to choose from. That's the great thing about OctoPrint being open source. Anyone can add on to it or make their own variants. So far, all the things I've said about OctoPrint have been positives, and that's because overall I think it's a good bit of software, but there definitely are some negatives, and the majority of them fall under the category of reliability. OctoPrint isn't the most reliable interface you can do on your printer. In my year of using OctoPrint, I've run into several issues along the lines of reliability. I've had it not connect to my network, I've had it connect to my network fine, and then mid-through print disconnect so I can't see whether I can't access the interface anymore. I've even had it stop in the middle of a print with no explanation, but it's just shut down and I have to restart it. Usually when one of these things happen, you can just restart it and everything's back to normal. And they don't happen like every week or anything like that, but every couple months there will be something like this, which isn't that big of a deal. But if it's a super long print that's going to take 12 hours, you don't want it failing in its 8th hour and have that entire print shot. I know you can do recovery systems with that as well, but still it's not good to have that as a problem in a printer interface. But my biggest problem with the interface by far has been it connecting to Wi-Fi networks. Now, in the setup phase, it usually connects just fine. It's fairly simple. When you download the OS, you just type in the username and password of your network, and then when it boots up for the first time, it automatically connects, no problemo. But I have had the issue before where I turn on my Pi, connects to the network, and then 30 seconds later, it disconnects, and I can't connect it again. It's just completely gone. And the only way to fix it is turn it off and turn it back on. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. And it got so bad where I had to just completely wipe it and reinstall the interface. Now, that might be a problem with my particular Pi, but considering how updated the new firmware seemed to fix it, I think not. Also, this has happened on several different networks. I've tested it on different networks. It's the same problem. I definitely think it is a problem with the software itself, because I've run other operating systems on the same Pi, and I never ran into that problem at all. However, with a clean install, it was fixed. So it's not like the software's broken or anything, but there are some bugs here and there. But the great thing is updates come out for both the operating system and the interface program all the time. So most likely any bugs you have will be fixed in the next update, which is every couple of weeks. So does that stop me from using it? Not at all. It's really great and convenient, and my printer doesn't even have any other interface because it's more of a kit build. I decided to use it as my sole interface. There definitely have been some times where I really just wish I had a physical interface because you want to print something and you can't. You just got to sit down and troubleshoot it instead of just going in and using the backup interface. So I'd say the optimal way to use it would be if you had a physical interface, but just use that as your backup so that if you had to print something and you just needed to get those prototypes done, you can revert back to the original thing. I think that is an awesome way to use it. As your only interface, I would not recommend it unless you're not doing any time-sensitive or monetary projects. But for just hobby use and a backup interface, it is totally fine, and honestly it's really nice just to be able to log in on my phone and check to see if my printer is finished with the part yet, instead of having to go all the way across the house to find out. Well guys, that is it for me. I left links down in the description where you can go to the OctoPrint website to download the software, as well as tutorials for how to set it up. If any of you guys use OctoPrint, I'd love to hear what you think of it, and if you've had any similar bugs like I did, let me know that down in the comments. I'm Sai, thanks for watching.